All right, welcome. We're going to talk about something that can literally change your entire relationship with work, with money, and with your future. It's all about financial independence, and believe me, it can start a lot sooner than you might think.
So let's just start with a little thought experiment. I want you to picture two completely different futures. In one, you work because you have to. In the other, you work because you want to. Think about that for a second. Which path do you want to be on?
On one side, you've got the path we all know, the grind, working for decades just to pay the bills, where your job is just a straight-up necessity. But then there's this other path, a life where your investments generate enough money to cover everything. And in that world, work becomes a choice. It's something you do for fun, to be social, or to chase a passion.
So how do we get onto that second path? How do we make that happen? Well, it all starts with one really important idea. You have to know your freedom number. This is it. This is the amount of money you need to make work completely optional.
Okay, so what is that number? How much is actually enough? Well, a really common rule of thumb financial planners have used for ages is the 4% rule. The idea is simple. Based on history, you can safely pull out 4% of your total investments every year, and the odds are incredibly high that your money will last for the rest of your life.
And that 4% rule gives us this awesome little shortcut, the 25x rule. It's super easy. If you can take out 4% a year, that just means you need 25 times your annual expenses saved up. So figure out how much you want to live on each year, multiply it by 25, and boom, that's your freedom number.
Let's put some numbers to it. Let's say you want to live on $100,000 a year. Well, your freedom number would be $2.5 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. That is a huge number. But just stick with me here.
Because here's the catch. That $100,000, well, in 30 years, it's not going to buy you nearly the same amount of stuff it buys you today. There's this silent, invisible force that's always working against you, eating away at the value of your money.
Yep, that silent killer is called inflation. But here's the good news. As a young investor, you have two incredible, almost unfair advantages to fight back. You have two superpowers, your rate of return, and even more importantly, time itself.
And to see what I mean, just think about something really simple, like a gallon of milk. A few decades back, it was about $1.50. Now, it can be $6. That's a four-fold increase. That is inflation, right there, just quietly stealing your purchasing power year after year.
And this is where it gets really serious. If you look at average inflation, that $100,000 a year you're shooting for, well, in 35 years, it's only going to have the buying power of about 35,000 of today's dollars. So your money can't just sit there. It has to grow. It has to grow a lot faster than inflation.
So how do you get a feel for that growth? Here's a cool little mental math trick. It's called the rule of 72. All you do is divide the number 72 by your annual return rate, and that tells you roughly how many years it'll take for your money to double. So if you're getting an 8% return, your money is doubling every 9 years. Pretty cool, right?
And that rate of return you get, it is absolutely critical. Just look at this. To hit your goal, earning 8% a year means you got to save $15,000 annually. But if that return drops by just 1.5%, all of a sudden you need to save $24,000 a year. That is a massive difference from a pretty small change in your return.
But here's the thing. As powerful as your return rate is, your other superpower, time, is even stronger. This is where the real magic happens. This is the magic of compounding.
In this chart, this just says it all. The person who starts investing at 25 has to save so much less every year to hit the exact same goal as someone who waits just 10 years to start. That decade gives their money a massive head start, letting it grow and grow and grow on its own.
Okay, so you get it. You need to start early and you need to get a good return. But where do you actually put the money? Let's cut through some of the confusing jargon you're going to hear.
First up, the index fund. Honestly, you can just think of this as investing on autopilot. Its only job is to copy or track a market index like the S&P 500, the 500 biggest companies in the US. It's that simple.
Now, something very similar is an ETF, or an exchange-traded fund. This is also a big basket of stocks, but the main difference is you can buy and sell it all day long on a stock exchange, just like you would a single share of, say, Apple stock.
And this is what is so powerful about it. When you buy just one share of an S&P 500 ETF, you instantly own a tiny piece of all 500 of those companies. You're diversified across tech, healthcare, energy, you name it. The whole economy, basically, with just one click.
And finally, you have mutual funds.
If you've got a 401k through your job, you probably own some of these. Just like ETFs, they're big pools of money, but they can be passive, just tracking the market, or they can be actively managed, where some manager is trying to pick winning stocks to beat the market.
But this is where you really have to watch out for the hidden costs. See, those actively managed funds that promise to beat the market, they charge way higher fees. And even worse, some of them hit you with this thing called a load, which is basically a sales commission that can take over 5% of your money before it even gets invested. Over time, these fees will absolutely destroy your returns.
So, after all that, what's the game plan? What's the simple, proven strategy that actually gets you there?
Honestly, it all comes down to this super simple 3-step plan. 1. Start now. Today, your biggest advantage is time. 2. Keep it simple with low-cost, diversified index funds or ETFs. And 3, and this is maybe the hardest part, just buy and hold on. Don't try to time the market, don't panic when things get scary, just hold.
And why does this boring plan work so well? Because history has shown that over the long run, the market delivers. I mean, despite every war, recession, and crisis you can think of, the economy has always recovered. You're not betting on stocks. You're betting on human progress and innovation. And historically, that has always been the winning bet.
So at the end of the day, achieving financial independence isn't about being some kind of Wall Street genius. It's not about getting lucky and timing the market perfectly. It's just about starting, being consistent, and letting time and the power of compounding do all the heavy lifting for you. Your future self is waiting. The only question left is, when are you going to start?